Welcome to Talk to Me Like I'm an Idiot. I'm your host, Angie McMahon. On this show, I interview people about jobs and topics I know nothing about. You can find us on all your favorite social sites at Idiot Talk Show. You can also use that hashtag to keep up with the conversation. Don't forget to tell a friend. Now, let's start the show.
I don't want to be alone in this bed. Won't you give me something I can take apart? I don't want to listen to the yelling in my head or the crying in my idiot heart. Idiot heart.
Thanks for tuning in to Talk to Me Like an Idiot. Today, I have a wonderful friend of mine who is not only a gifted and funny performer, but he was a Chicago police officer for 30 years. Please welcome to the show, Mark Bratton.
Hello.
Hello. So did I get that right? 30 years you were a police officer?
Yes.
Wow.
When they sent me the paperwork, I couldn't understand. Oh my God, really?
Well, first, I like to start
Yeah.
the show with, how do we know each other? You tell me, because I'm the idiot.
Well, as I embarked on learning to do improvisational comedy in Chicago, um, I met up with a group of people that decided to do a show uh, that invited more of an ethnic base to it, just to expose more people to the genre. And friends of mine over time, they became friends of mine over time. And one individual, Morris Timms,
He was on our
uh,
first episode, by the way.
hmm he and his roommate Keith Smitherman came up with the idea of Pimprov, and we began to put that improv troupe together. And he evidently knew you,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I think about the beginnings and where did I start and how did this whole Pimprov thing get to be 15 years now that it's been happening. If you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
how did this happen? It's all because of you, and I always give you that hallmark in my mind that if it wasn't for you, where I mean, it might have went in a different direction, but it's been wonderful, and it's all your fault.
Oh, that's so nice. Do you know some of the pimps came to like a benefit I was throwing? Some of your newer pimps and John Keaton came to some benefit I was doing. And I announced that I was the producer of Pimp Prow for the first 13 years. And these kids looked at me like, who the hell are you? And I was like, go ask somebody. You go ask somebody.
That's your mama. You better recognize. Yeah, definitely.
So
No doubt.
that's awesome. So thank you for that. So I have some dumb questions for you. So I'm going to ask you some dumb questions, and I just want you to, we're just chatting here. So
hmm
I stole this from Wyatt Cenac from watching his show this past week. But on a single season of Chicago PD, the television show, the Dick Wolf television show, a
hmm
police officer will shoot their gun 100 times in a single season of Chicago PD. So I just want to ask you, since you were a Chicago police officer, how many times have you shot your gun?
Never.
Never. In 30 years.
Only at the range for qualification.
So how many times have you yelled, freeze? Or like, freeze, motherfucker?
I'd have to say, and I worked in an absolutely, what do we call it these days? Urban area. For many years, I worked where crime was a bit more prevalent than other places, and I'm gonna say, and I worked midnights for almost a decade.
Wow.
I'm just gonna throw a dart and say maybe 10 times over that period,
Well, you got
where
to.
I actually had to uh I had to pull my weapon on someone and absolutely feel that I may need to harm them if they wanted to harm me.
Wow.
You draw your weapon periodically just for safety, because you don't know where you're going. You get a call about somebody being in trouble, and there's weapons involved, so you might pull your weapon, but you don't point it at someone, like that.
Right.
But as far as just where it's this could be it. It's probably 10 times.
Wow. That has to be a really intense feeling, like a very, I would think, a very anxiety driven kind of feeling, like I might have to hurt someone.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that I really had to learn to deal with. Being, I mean, I was never Captain Cool in school. I was
Right.
had 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 computers been as small as they are now, I'd have been that guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm an Edgar. You know, I
Right.
mean, back then, I mean, their computers did. I've been working on computers since '78, and so I'm that guy. And when I took the job, I had to really counsel myself and center myself on realizing what kind of thing I was about to embark upon, and as a lifestyle, to realize everybody needs to be safe, including myself.
Yeah.
And being this type of individual, people tend to be drawn to a person like me to bother them in the first place.
Right.
Like, oh, look at this nerd, let's kick him around. You know,
So why were you attracted to become a police officer? What about the job made you go like that's what I want to do?
girl, they was hired.
Yeah.
Well, actually, my mother told me that. She said, they're hiring police officers. I was like, really? And having had one, more than one relative on both sides of my family uh, be in the police, I was like, I could be like my uncles and my cousin, and hmm, I'll try that. And plus the barriers for open enrollment to try to join the force had been up forever until that mayor had come along.
Mm,
Mayor Washington broke the walls down so that anybody could apply, not just brother-in-laws.
gotcha. Gotcha.
So it was a good thing, I guess. I suppose I've done well.
Yeah, I mean, 30 years, you gotta at least probably like the people you're working with to work someplace, any place for that long, right?
Oh, don't get it twisted. No, I mean, you learn to adapt. I'm an adapter, obviously. I mean, that's what I didn't know I was adapting life. My
Hmm.
whole life is improv. It's like, oh, well, who do we have? Who do we have to deal with? Okay, let me put this mask on,
Hmm.
or this, use these tools to deal with these people. It was really. I mean, we had great friendships and things like that, but there was a lot of opposition and a lot of needless tedium that went into trying to navigate that job just to get things done and everything being square and fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so.
Mhm.
And then of course, like we have to talk about everything that's been coming up in the news. You're an African American male, and I'm assuming, um, just like currently we're hearing a lot about, that you also would be profiled, pulled over by the police, that kind of a thing. I mean, growing up, I'm assuming that's something you experienced.
Yes, yeah, I actually, yes, I actually have.
Yeah.
That I see a lot of people talk about it on television, and I know it's true. But you know how people tend to like jump on the bandwagon type of thing.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot where I'm like, yeah, okay, dude, whatever. But it has happened to me. I don't embellish.
Right.
It's happened to me before.
So even though like you've experienced that, that didn't deter you from wanting to be a police officer.
No, because one thing my mother always taught me is that it's ignorant to say all about anything. There may be a majority, but that doesn't mean everybody's bad or everybody's whatever. So
Yeah.
I figured maybe I could make a difference in the midst of all that soup.
Yeah.
And that I believe I did to a degree.
I believe you probably did too. Did you
Mhm.
find like on the other side of things, did you find that there was a lot of like racial divide in the within the police department? Oh my. Yeah. Yes.
Oh yes,
Oh my.
absolutely.
Yeah. And that probably was difficult to kind of overcome as well.
And definitely. And I mean, Chicago in itself, I keep hearing it again and again, and I wonder if I'm overreacting in my mind about, is it really that segregate? Yeah. I mean, the
Yeah.
whole city's like I call it what do you call it, cafeteria tray. When you go to the cafeteria, you got your beans in one little area, you got your meat in the middle, like a
Yeah.
TV dinner.
Oh yeah.
Everything, the whole city's cut up like that. The neighborhoods are cut up like that with ethnicity. And it's sad. This is the North. We's gonna be free. Okay.
I
Think
mean,
again.
in some way, I agree with you. Like we are an incredibly segregated city, but in some ways, at least I hear from people that there is also like comfort in some of that. Like when you are an immigrant and you come here and you can find like your area and you find a little bit of your home in that area. There's some comfort in that. Did you see that at all, or no? You just feel like we're
I no no I absolutely understand that, especially the more esoteric the ethnicity might be. If you're Armenian and you can find the Armenian neighborhood, oh man, this
oh
is
yeah,
cool, or whatever. I mean,
yeah,
that's great. I mean, it's not about the cloistering together of your original community and your where you come from. It's just what irritates me just in general is that people won't come out of the vacuum.
right,
You've come here for evidently a better life, or because someone's asked you to come to help them create a better life for you and your family or whatever, but then you just stay there and never want to communicate with anybody else
right.
and get irritated when I come to patronize and learn about your group.
That is something like that. I was just talking with my last guest about a little bit when it becomes that especially the new conversation, the new generation of talking about like don't put my ethnicity on as a costume or like you see it's like recently was Cinco de Mayo, right? And I saw
Yeah.
a picture of someone who was forced by their employer to wear a sombrero. And he was like real pissed about it. He's like, I don't like doing this, but my restaurant job wants me to walk around in a sombrero all day. And so I have to keep my job. So you see a lot of that discussion now of like, this is my ethnicity. This is not for you. But then at the same time, I think it divides people a little bit too to try to learn about it or to celebrate it, or, it becomes very much the conversation of like, this is for me, this is not for you.
I agree. I this whole everyone, I don't know, every this is such a free country.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I almost think that, especially second generation, anybody who's migrated here, emigrated here, maybe they just don't get how it might be back in the homeland compared to here. And we have that sort of freedom and we can't take advantage of it. I mean, it's one thing to be evil and overbearing about something, but I mean, just to I mean, it's a melting pot. So melt already.
Right.
That's the whole point. I mean, hey, hi, great to meet you. Tell me more about what you're doing.
Right.
Ugh,
Ugh, right. But
definitely.
I assume like and I assume because I'm an idiot, like as a police officer, you might have to do some profiling, or no. That was just the assholes do that.
Well, no, I mean, all this super sensitivity and all this crap going on.
Yeah.
I know who ain't shit.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter what color they are. You can get a sense of who's not a savory individual or not. You can look and say, "Well, I don't know about this guy," and I mean, even if they have on the costume of we used to say, "Oh God, here we go," and you look at him, you're like, "Yeah, he's just trying to fit in with the group."
Right.
If he's wearing urban wear or something, like, look at this nerd in this urban wear.
Right.
You can tell, but I mean that can be dangerous also because the nerd might want to prove himself to the rest of the ingrates, on the planet. I want to have to show so and so that I'm a badass.
Right.
That can happen too. And again, pick a color. It's not about suntans and no suntans. It's about anybody that can get caught into that trap
Yeah.
of trying to belong and doing something stupid to do it.
Now, what about not, I hear a lot. I'm on Twitter. That's kind of where my people are. That's where I kind of
Hmm.
hang the most. And one of the things that comes at me all the time is you live in Chicago, like, how are you not dead yet? Like, constantly people, like, if I even when I visited like a foreign country, they're like, you live in Chicago, El Capone, like as if we just all walk around like in body armor because it's just bullets, 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 bullets. Like we're not a war torn country, guys. We're not even the
Ex-
highest. We aren't even the highest, most violent city in the world. But everyone, the first thing they think about in Chicago is guns and what do they call in that movie, Chirac and everything else. Like,
right.
so what? Yeah, there are definitely spots that are safe, that are feel safer than others. What is your thoughts or experience with that?
Um, all of it is overblown.
Yeah.
I mean, all of that is overblown. We've had much more dangerous. I mean, as far as we've had much more violence and murder rates. Probably in the 80s was the last peak, than we do now. But they just like to trot these numbers out to try to put fear in people's minds and figure out how they can exploit it to maybe, hey, I want to start a firm that consults about security and how we can make the department better for you.
But
And
even
whose brother-in-law are you?
even the president's like, well, look at Chicago. They're just dying left and right. Like we're just walking over corpses as we go to work every morning.
It's foolishness. It really, really is. I mean, it might have progressed a little bit more, and I mean, we have to realize also that per capita, if more murders happened, and I'm just throwing a number, let's say in '85, the mid
Hmm.
'80s, then with less people, and we've probably increased our numbers possibly by a third over 30 years,
Hmm.
then how is that a bad thing? If the numbers are lower than they were then, but we've got a third more people now. I mean, it's just kind of a per capita thing. It's not ideal, and it's not like, oh, get over it. A few people have to die. I
Hmm.
mean, we're not a few broken eggs and spilt milk. It's humanity, but still, to be in such a large group. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as people want to try to make it out to be.
Do you think some of that is like, well, obviously the president being a complete, completely
Oh,
ignorant on this on the subject?
Jesus
I mean,
Christ Almighty!
here's a man who we ran him out of town when he tried to come to Chicago.
Right, right.
He has not even tried to come back to Chicago since we ran him out of town. He'll go to Milwaukee or
Well,
whatever.
you're right. Well, that's a whole other story.
Right.
Mm.
Do you think do you think though, like, it's part of Hollywood's fault? Like, Hollywood has decided this is what Chicago is and they're just going to paint us this one way, and that and that's it.
Well, I mean, and it's Hollywood is the propaganda tool to the nation. I mean, it's entertainment and all of that, but it's everyone's perception of someplace else, or their experience for the few times they've been there. They went to college there, and I'm going to tell a story about whatever. But I mean, every place has its own, conditions that keep getting projected to the universe. Every time you think New York, we get the perception, oh, you're going to be arrogant.
Hmm.
You're gonna be really quick. Hey, I gotta go or whatever. I mean, you think LA, you think, yeah, man, just relax, have a good time. But just don't be so. Just relax, man. Chill. I mean, it's we they keep projecting how someone is, or how great, or you think about the South. How you doing there, son? All right, it's good to meet you.
Right.
Everyone in the South doesn't have an accent. Everyone in
No,
in Chicago doesn't have a gun. Everybody in LA isn't sitting around eating dry trail mix and reading, Nietzsche.
a lot of them are,
Well,
though.
true, but I mean, it's just, they get these perceptions, and they make it part of the oh, what's that word? Just the landscape, just part of the,
Zeitgeist or whatever.
yeah,
Like
right.
that's what it
Just
is. That's what we, yeah. So
just
you're,
I can't
go
word.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I can't think of the word that I'm looking for. The just when I think of it, I might blurt it out. So
That'll be wonderful. I'm waiting for that moment. That's going
oh,
to be
oh,
fantastic. Um, so you, as a police officer, and I assume now as a retired police officer, you are a gun owner still.
oh yeah.
Yeah, and you
Mm.
are a big proponent of owning guns.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah,
I mean, again, we're make a nice even number. There's 300 million people in the country. We're not just out blazing each other every day.
fair.
You hear moments about bad things happening all over the country, but it's not a bad thing, especially considering wherever you might stay. I mean, because people just there's just no accounting for what people will do. And I mean, anytime the economy gets a little bad or jobs are scarce, I don't know. It's like survival, like going on a not safari, but just trying to survive. You
Yeah,
know, people don't farm anymore, or go out to an area where they can go kill elk.
right.
I mean, they're in an urban landscape, and they're trying to survive. Aside from digging in a garbage can, eating somebody's leftover food or something, what do they do? And I don't apologize for them for doing that, but the desperation levels can take people anywhere, and it wouldn't be a bad thing to be prepared to protect yourself.
So I have some dumb questions surrounding that too, because like I had a discussion with Robert. Do you know Robert Buscemi? Do you remember Robert?
Yeah.
He
Hmm.
stand up right. So I had a Twitter discussion with Robert about this, where he's like, you're supposed to, as a reasonable, responsible gun owner, you're supposed to lock up your gun, and not just that, you're supposed to lock up your ammunition separately. And what happens if you do get someone to burglar your house? Are you like, hang on a second while I go get, like, I have to go to this safe for my bullets and this safe for my gun?
That is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I know that when you drive, like, even myself, if I go to another state and I have the gun on me, I'm supposed to put it in two
Spots.
different
Yeah.
receptacles to transport it. But I mean, as far as, what's the point of having it if you have to go through all that? I'm not aware of anything that tells you that you have to do that. I mean, how about conceal and carry? People have those permissions now. Are
Right.
they going to keep the bullets in their back pocket and the gun in a holster?
Well, yeah, that's what I didn't understand. I was like, what happens if
No,
you just get to the bullets? You start just throwing bullets at somebody, like
that
hoping, like darts, like hoping you hit them.
that's absolutely pointless. Pointless. It reminds me of movies where, and think about it. You'll see, some kind of action film where the guy blasts half a dozen guys with machine guns, and he's got a few guns too, but he's got to be out of bullets by now. He knocks them all down and walks right past four loaded machine guns and clips and doesn't grab anything.
Right.
I mean, it's just come on.
So, I mean, but you do believe in locking it up, right? Locking your gun.
I
Well,
mean,
you
if
don't
you
you don't live with little kids or anything,
no,
right?
no. uh I mean, if I think if your children are young, it's a good idea to keep it. It's not so much about locking it up; it's about keeping it safe.
Yeah.
And I know that kids can they can be very ingenious to
Hmm.
go nose into things they don't have any business going to nose into, but where they'd absolutely not want to be bothered with something.
Right.
You can find places where they're like, oh God, I don't want to go anywhere near that. Like if you have a library somewhere, something like that, they may
Your
not be
porn
excited
den.
enough. Right. I mean, you can find a way to keep it safe, but I mean, safe and unusable is pointless.
Yeah.
It needs to be safe but handy.
Yeah.
You
And
know.
so, well, what are your thoughts then on the mass shootings, on the school shootings, on the reasonable gun laws that are being constantly put out there by the left that feel like they're constantly being swiped down on the right?
I
It's a lot.
I really can't. I don't know what was that?
Oh, I'm that
The little
that
machine.
yeah, I'm on this thing called Pitch, and they like I write jokes for Funny or Die's Twitter, and it's mostly their Twitter and sometimes their Instagram. And so we get little like notifications when they want you to write a new joke. It'll be
Oh,
like it'll send out like a text message that'll be like, "Oh, the president said this stupid thing. We need memes for the next hour." So then there's like 3,000 freelancers that are just making memes like maniacs and sending them to Funny or Die, and then they pick like one or two, and then
uh,
you get $10.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's also ridiculous how hard I work for $10 sometimes.
Hey, hey, hey. It's about I'm funny and you need to know it. That's what it's about.
Yeah, so that was that. I'm sorry, I didn't turn my phone off. So wait, so we were talking about, yeah, school shootings and
Oh,
the back to the serious stuff. And the reasonable gun laws. I mean, what are your so I'll just throw out some things, right? Raising the age from 18 to 21 to buy a gun across the board. What are your thoughts?
that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
That would not be a bad idea.
And then what about like outlawing bump stocks that make that
Oh, anything that can augment a weapon into being more dangerous. If you can't squeeze off 10 rounds in 10 seconds, you don't need to own a gun.
yeah. And what about an assault weapons ban? That we had an assault weapons ban from 1995, I believe, to 2004, and mass shootings were at an all-time low in this country. And then we brought back assault weapons, and they've skyrocketed.
I absolutely, and I had to think about it.
Yeah,
I absolutely believe no one but professional law enforcement or the military, anyone who may have to protect life in mass that might need that sort of firepower, those people should be exposed to those weapons.
Hmm.
Just Joe next door, just a standard citizen with something that can take life in mass. No,
Right.
I don't believe they need that.
And this is the big argument then. Most gun owners like yourself agree with everything we just said, and still there's no meaningful law changes. There's still so many people that says if you give them an inch, they'll take my guns. And so they shut down the conversation. I mean, that, we talk about the NRA or politicians, but there is, I had a conversation with a gun owner, back and forth in a DM, and he absolutely is not into the NRA, but he absolutely 100% believes if you give them an inch, they will take my guns.
I I really I don't know where that could where he could be getting that sense of where he's getting that idea from these days. I honestly don't see as much as they just put the I mean all except putting the on television for like in a commercial. Hey, do you need a Smith and Wesson? Aside from that, it's out there. How I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Right.
I really don't. So I don't know where the worry is.
But I also don't know that any meaningful reform will happen either. I mean, every time we have one of these school shootings, they said there's 22 so far this year. Um, every time it goes back to the exact same conversations. Nothing is done. Everyone feels frustrated. I think everyone's frustrated on both sides because they both keep repeating themselves. Neither wants to give an inch this way or that way, and we end up just going in circles and chasing our tail.
Yeah, I every we're just in a we had the Me Too, the Me generation, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I mean, what kind of what are we going to call this generation where everybody in a small group or by themselves wants all the autonomy and freedom
Mm-hmm.
and flexibility, and you just want everything. You
Yeah.
don't want to compromise anywhere for anything. To
No. Why should I?
right, I mean, it's one thing to live free, and we're in America, yes, but I mean, but what are you doing? How far do you want to go where sheer civility gets overrun by your needs?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I know. And it's hard to talk about these things too. Like I even said to somebody on the last episode, I was like, I'm I know me, you're my friend, and we can have a conversation, but I'm nervous about bringing up some of these topics because they are hot button issues. And it doesn't feel like people can talk about it without screaming at each other.
Yeah, I you wonder if other countries have dictatorships and
Hmm.
all these moratoriums on everything. You wonder if too much freedom is too much freedom. Have we
Oh,
reached some kind of spoiled brat melting point with just living free?
that's interesting. I hadn't.
I mean,
That's
you
interesting.
you're so spoiled. You've had everything for so long that even the most heinous things or most unheard of things in the world, you want to, yeah, I want to have a gun. Yeah, I want to do this. I want to eat. Well, yeah, you want to walk down the street, in naked? Are we going to go there? I mean, I have a right to not wear clothing. It's not and you're not supposed to look at me. How dare you have your eyes linger upon my body? Yes, I'm naked. I have the right to be naked, and you shouldn't look at me because I don't want you to. I mean, how far are we going to go?
Yeah, yeah. It's
you can't please everyone all the time.
Sometimes, though, it feels like you can't please anyone at all.
Exactly.
It's like I'd be like, I just want to please like four people in my life. Like that's it. Like if I could
Uh,
please my two kids, and my husband, like, and like maybe three Twitter followers. That's it. Like if those people are pleased, like I'm super happy. Like it doesn't even feel like that's achievable these days.
oh, I see that I'm not included. Well, I'm
Oh
messing.
no. I do. I miss you guys
Ah,
so much. I miss you and Mars and John so much. I'm constantly telling Mars like take the show someplace else so that I can come visit cuz I don't feel comfortable going to CIC.
oh Lord.
I
Well,
don't. But I miss you guys so much.
I mean, do you know that generally when our show goes up, nobody's there but Sarah. So I mean, that's family.
I know. I know. It just, I feel like if I walk in the front door, I'm going to burst into tears or something, or turn to dust. I don't know which
Oh,
one. Either
stop.
one.
Poof.
Yeah.
Sweep Angie up and let's go reanimate her. Come on.
What, do you have any dumb questions for me, Mr. Bratton?
No, well, no. I mean, well, here's a question. What you have been after your departure,
Mm-hmm.
you were doing some things right this moment because you've done a few things since you left. What
Mm-hmm.
what are you up to with the theater community and or your own shows or
Yeah.
and stuff? What
So,
are you doing right this moment? Because I know one theater that you were involved in closed, right?
well, yes and no. I Under the Gun Theater is still open and operating.
Oh,
I purchased it from my original business partner, Kevin Mullaney, and own it outright. But I am in the process of selling it to the Lincoln Lodge and Type 5 Productions. They've been managing the space and all the programming and all the bills and all of that since no September, since September.
ah,
And there's just one final piece of the final sale that we're waiting on. It has to do with just some paperwork stuff. They have to renegotiate the lease with the landlord so that they can file the paperwork with the state and all of that, and so they can take over the LLC. So I'm selling the company. I've dissolved the ensemble and I have stepped back completely from doing theater, and I'm looking for work. Like this is the first time in 20 years that I've been like applying for jobs, trying to figure out what's next. That's kind of part of why I'm doing this podcast, to just be like, I need to do something while I'm figuring stuff out. I mean, I went through a really bad deep depression where I felt very hurt. I really, you know what, Sharna having to close the LA IO, I really related with her. Where she
mm-hmm.
said there's $77,000 of debt that I can and have paid off in various ways to make sure payroll gets met. And I can't do it anymore. It's not sustaining itself as a business. I have to close. And people being mad about that's, to me, it's like, okay, you don't like Sharna, that's fine, but she's nothing more than a wallet to you. You just want her
Mm-hmm.
to keep spending money so you can dick around with your friends on stage to 10 people in the audience. She's nothing more than a wallet to you. And that's where I got to, is that I felt like I was giving a lot of opportunities to people and paying people and doing all those things people said that they want, having a diverse ensemble, having a gender parodied ensemble, having LGBT voices in the ensemble, all of those things, doing all of those things that everyone says they want, being paid as a performer. And the business was not sustaining itself. And the moment I said, like, I have to stop paying everyone, uh, the world replied to me like, not fair, not okay.
Oh, they just jump ship.
Yeah, because yeah, and I became just a wallet to people. I was
Oh
just a
man.
reason for them to do their thing and not have risk attached to it. And a lot of shows that were developed under my tutelage found homes at other theaters with long runs, and no credit is paid. And so after CIC, after Under the Gun, I'm just very broken by our community, and I feel very abandoned, I guess. I also feel very unliked. I feel very like, I talked to Don Hall about, like, talk about somebody who's unliked by the theater community.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, it's a similar, feeling of being like, this community, for whatever reason, has put a cap on me. I can't go any further up, down, or sideways. They've decided where I'm at, and that's it. And so I'm just, I guess, trying to take back my artistic life
That makes sense.
and just
That
be
makes
like,
sense.
this is something I'm doing for me, and it's not, and nobody is going to tell me how to do it or what to do. I'm going to do it my way, and maybe it'll fail because I've failed in the past, but at least I won't have to say I failed because of this and with this and about this. It'll be on my terms. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so I'm not doing anything, Mark, except hustling for $10 jokes for funnier time.
Stop it. You're raising two small humans.
That is
That
true.
counts.
That
That
is true.
counts. That's and uh it's probably uplifting to a degree also to be in their lives even more than usual. Right
Yeah,
now, because they're like 10 or so, right?
my bug is 13.
Right, right,
She's
right.
going to high school next year. And you
See,
know what? She's dealing with a teenager who, I don't
girl,
know. Here's the thing that's really strange to me is, like, she will scream at me, whatever. She hates me. She'll slam her door. I never did any of that shit to my parents. I would get my ass kicked.
handed on a silver platter.
So I just don't understand, like, I don't believe in hitting my child, so she could just shit on me as much as she wants. I don't know if that's like this generation or what, but she is mouthy as fuck. She doesn't give a fuck. So, it is tough.
And I mean, we've never talked about spirituality, but I mean, sometimes people say things. Sometimes things happen for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you needed a moment of zen to keep your eye on things at home so that you can take a moment to fine tune her attitude a little bit
Yeah.
for the rest of her life. I mean, she's at that adolescent age, and okay, let me break it down to you. Mom's never been salty or evil, but let me explain something to you. Damn it!
Oh no,
And
I've been salty and evil. I
oh
just
yeah,
don't hit her.
oh sure, sure. But I mean, maybe you needed to be there now.
Yeah.
In the for however you look at it, whether it's God or karma or whatever, maybe you needed to be a little closer to home right now.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true. I mean, it's in a lot of ways it's helped my home life. It took a lot it took a lot for me to step back. I mean, it's my entire life. It is my entire adult life has been slumming in storefront theaters.
Hmm.
And it's where I've raised my kids. I mean, Bug napped in the green room at CIC while I sat in the lobby and hand sewed curtains and waited for inspectors to come in. Like, I've raised my kids in storefront theater. It was where I met my husband doing improv classes. It's my whole life. And to just now push that aside and say, okay, that was my life. And now what will my life be going forward? It's frightening,
Hmm.
but it's
Hmm.
also kind of freeing. But it's
Well,
also,
yeah.
it's a little bitter too, though. I definitely, maybe it's because the wounds are still a little really open, But I
Mm-hmm.
look back and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say I regret. I do have some regrets. I won't say that I don't have any regrets. But to look back and say, like, this is like everything I've gone through has made me the person I am today. But I don't even know that I like the person that I am today. So then it's like, well, what is the person I want to be and how do I get there?
I've thought about that, considering haven't had a career already and still, in theory, got a lot of years left in me.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you what I definitely understand your thought there. What I know what I'd like to do, but then if I were to achieve that, would that make me happy forever, or would I need to move on? That's what's been going through my head.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get a TV show and I get famous. Would I like that? Would I like to be recognized everywhere?
I
You know
don't
what I
think
mean?
I would like to be famous. I think I would like to work. That's the
Hmm.
one thing, like, I've always said, and for some reason, I had friends growing up, and even family now, that don't understand that difference. It's like I want to work. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to that level of whatever. I couldn't not Google myself every day and then cry for half the day over what the internet is saying. Like that is, you know, I know myself. I wouldn't be able to do that. So I just want to work. I just want to have like a steady gig. Like I would love to like be in a writer's room or like sure have a role on a web series that does well. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I just want to work. I don't want fame. And so often I feel like people equate anyone who wants to be a performer to wanting fame.
Right,
And
right.
I just don't, it's like, I just want to work. Like, I would totally be happy being like Lady Cop number 6 in everything. Like, I'm
I,
just always Lady Cop number 6, super happy. Am I working? Am I getting a check? Am I creating something? Am I around artistic people? Check, check, check. Follow me on Twitter. Like, that's it.
right, right. That makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, you know how athletes like to say, oh man, I just love the game.
Right.
We just love the game. I
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
I mean, if for to be in storefront theater for 20 years, there's just so many times when you're performing for a house of 10 people or 5 people or 2 people because you just want to do a goddamn show.
Yeah, no doubt, no
And
doubt.
and sometimes that wears on you too. Sometimes you're like, I'm putting everything out here. I want so badly to make someone happy right now, and there just isn't anyone here. Or these 10 people are not happy. They're not loving me. That happens too.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, you know that. You know I know.
so
I
it's,
mean,
you
what do you
know,
want me to do? I'm here to help you be happy. You could at least try to be happy. You get
yeah,
the scowl. You get the scowl group sometimes. Rrr.
yeah.
Come on, dude. It's a happy place.
Well, and
Open your mind.
the other thing that gets me about just small theater, independent theater, storefront theater, comedy, all of that I lump together because a lot of times the artistic world takes comedy out of that listing. Like comedy is supposed to be its own thing. We're not allowed to be artists. Fuck you. So, you know, a lot of times artists don't value what they're doing either. It's like, come to my show, it's a free show. Or it's a free show and I'll give you 2 beers. Or it's a free show, I'll give you 2 beers and $10. Please just come and consume my art, right?
Hmm.
Like, we don't put any value. I used to argue all the time, like, this show should be $13, $15. And people would be like, my friends won't pay that. And I'm like, you shouldn't be worrying about your fucking friends. You should be trying to get real people, like real audience you don't know. And you know what? If you're doing something that's valuable and you're making people happy, your friends should pay $15. If they want to come consume your art, you should make them pay $15. That's like a movie ticket. You're telling,
Exactly.
and people just don't value what they're doing. And so they end up throwing themselves out there and begging people to consume what they're doing and get validity for it. And oftentimes it's good. Like there's arguably some terrible out there, right?
Oh, sure.
But
Hmm.
generally, those terrible shows are not asking you for $15. Like they're pretty self aware of what level they're at. When you're asking somebody for $15 or $20, you're saying to them, I think that this is a real value. And because so many people don't, I think that there's a lot of audience out there. That's why they say like, I want it. I want to get a coupon. I want to get a comp. Because they also don't value what our art because we don't. Why should they?
Right. Right. I mean, and I think a lot of times, certainly with improv and what we do, is they think it's like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is an art form, man. And I mean, I still have to glom on to Saturday Night Live when I try to explain to people that don't know, about improv. You know how Saturday Night Live is. Whose line is it anyway? That stuff. Oh, okay. But I
Yeah.
mean, it
How do you
is
practice? My favorite question is like, how do you practice improv? And like, how do you
right.
practice basketball? Like,
It,
you don't know what's going to
exactly.
happen in the game, but you still practice. Like, of course, like there's skill to it. That's the other thing is people don't understand that there's skill to it. There's skill to joke construction. There's skill to understanding how to build a scene. And people just see people talking and they're like, I know how to talk. Talking's easy. So they don't
Right.
value or see any skill in it. And
Absolutely.
I don't know. It kills me.
It's more than a notion. I mean, and especially, I think you change their mind if you do have a reasonably large house that night or something,
Yeah.
and they watch the other people and they're like, wow, this is a thing. I think a
That's
lot of people don't know that small theater is a thing.
mm-mm.
It's not just because it's a small theater and the people are quote unquote amateurs in your mind. It's not a school play.
Well, that's the other thing is there's a reason why 6 storefront theaters closed in this past year. And that's because newspapers are not supporting small organizations. Media is not supporting small organizations. People are not telling their friends. Actors are not telling their friends. Audience members who are consuming are not telling people. It doesn't occur to them that they even should. I go to this coffee house. I love this coffee house, Two Hearted Queens. It's in Wrigley. It's a
Mm,
tiny little coffee house. They roast their own beans. They're owned by like really cool women, and I just love it. It's a comfortable space to go like write for an afternoon or like apply for jobs all afternoon, which is what I do when I go there.
hmm.
But it occurred to me, like, oh, you know what? This is a small business and it's small and it's a single location. I should probably go on Yelp and tell people how much I enjoy it. I should probably go on Facebook and tell people how much I enjoy it. Not because, not to be like, oh, I don't want to tell people because if it gets out, then the place will get crowded and I won't have my cute little spot anymore. But like, if I don't tell people, and they close, then I'm
You
not going
won't.
to have my cute little spot anymore.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I don't think it
True.
occurs to people. I don't think it occurs to people that you should talk about small businesses. You should be putting out reviews because the media is not supporting small businesses because they can't. The thing is, their coverage is cut to the bone. So they have to cover when a celebrity comes to town. They have to cover equity houses over the small guys. So media is not supporting us. You have your local aldermen are not even supporting a lot of these small businesses. They want you to join the chamber, and then the chamber will send you out into a spam email with 5,000 other small businesses that are all trying to keep their audience. And if you don't tell people about your favorite spots and things, it then you'll be telling everyone once they close how much they meant to you.
it'll become a fond memory instead
Yes.
of a thriving business.
Yes.
You're right, Angie. And I mean, and I don't think I think maybe like from 50 to 20 years of age, there's varying amounts of realizing the impact we have. I mean, think about literally, I'm going to say even 10 years ago.
Hmm.
You wouldn't know that something that you put on Facebook could get from here to Timbuktu.
Hmm.
I mean, the reach is boundless,
Right.
absolutely boundless. I mean, you would have to go and purchase, purchase an ad in like a local paper or the Reader or something to get the word out and
Hmm.
hope someone happens to see what you do. And now you could just put it on several sources. It's not animated like television,
Right.
but you can get the word out all over the everything.
But it also depends on people now because of all the algorithms. It also depends on people sharing it.
Mhm.
Because if I
Mhm.
put it on Facebook and nobody comments on it, or nobody likes it, or nobody shares it, nobody sees it. And that's where we're at. So the media is not supporting small businesses. The social sites are not supporting. You have to pay. You have to pay for ads on Facebook for anyone to see them. It's,
I-
you know,
Amazing.
so it's like we have these amazing tools that can reach, trillions of people, but it requires those people to tell somebody about it. Because if they don't, then it's screaming into an echo chamber. And that's what's happening. It's not just happening in, small coffee shops and little restaurants, but it's happening in storefront theater. Theaters are closing left and right because they cannot support themselves as a business. They end up having to be completely voluntary and put every penny that they make right back into just keeping the doors open. And, at some point, and in some cases, they're coming up short. I mean,
Mhm.
people saying like, why didn't Sharna tell everyone she was going to close? We could have done a Kickstarter. A Kickstarter is a band-aid. It's not a long-term solution.
No.
there's
No, you're right.
there's core problems with the business not being able to sustain itself. And if you don't address the core problems, I mean, how many times did Mars and I say to people like, why aren't you staying and supporting the bar? Why are you going down the street to Long Room?
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, if you're gonna spend money and you're gonna drink beer, why aren't you doing it here? Because that supports this place staying open. And people are like,
Right.
oh, I'm tired, like I need to get in another environment or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, if this goes away, then you won't even have that, you
Exactly.
know?
Exactly. True. True. And I mean, I don't get it, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting older too, but I mean, why wouldn't you want to just stick around the bar and drink?
I don't
I
know.
mean, especially for earlier shows, other people are coming in for shows that are after the ones you've already seen. You get to see more people. There's always an influx of people to meet and greet and see and be exposed to.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't just, I mean, and you can hear yourself think,
Hmm.
instead of just and all that noise
Right?
and racket. Why would you
That
do that?
racket.
Yeah,
Turn down the noise, kids.
exactly. Youngins.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's like I think everyone is in their own bubble and their own fears and their own worries so much that they're not looking at the things around them that they already support, that they could do just an inch more to support more. And it's not just putting on your Facebook status like, I have a show at this place, I hope you come. But it's like, if you really love this, whatever this is, this coffee house, this restaurant, this small theater, you tell your Uber driver, You tell people you're waiting in line with at the grocery store. You tell people because you love it and you care about it. You don't just put a thoughtless, come see my thing, sorry it costs money, shame post on Facebook. Who wants to support that? I mean, you know what I mean? When I was at CIC, and even when I opened Under the Gun, you couldn't put a human in front of me that I wasn't talking to about it constantly. To be like, this is what I care about. This is my life. I love this. This is so important to me. And I want you, Uber driver, to know about it. And if everybody did that, if everybody took, the other thing is everyone is so spread out because they're seeking fame. Like there's so many performers that bounce from the IO to the playground, back to Annoyance, over to Second City, over to Under the Gun, and then they're jumping over to CIC, and then they're heading up to the Laugh Out Loud, and then they're going over the Revival, and there's so many, there's people just bouncing, that nobody is putting their teeth into one place like Pimprov has, and say, this is my home, and I care about it, and here's something you should know. They just want to bounce, because they think they have to be everywhere, they have to be seen, they have to be known by every little nook and cranny the city has to offer. Otherwise, they're not going to be,
accepted and rise.
But they have to latch on to so many people, because then if she becomes Tina Fey, I could be Amy Poehler. She could pull me up with her. So if I don't put my arms around the entire city, I might miss Tina Fey, the next Tina Fey, who's going to pull me up with them. And it's like, well, Tina Fey, she'd probably bounce between IO and Second City, but she wasn't at like 24 stages like that,
Right. Lord. What?
Making meaningful connections rather than collecting Facebook friends like they're gummy worms.
Oh God, that madness. Ugh. I mean, and the people that I mean, it's one thing to support yourself or something, but just constantly commenting, constantly putting stuff. What is that your job?
Right.
Is your job to populate pages with moments of thought, or oh God, I could just scream that, look what I'm eating. Okay, great. All right, I get it. I mean, every once in a while you see something damned remarkable,
Right.
That you're like, can you believe this is food or whatever? Okay, fine, but this every moment of your existence,
putting it out there. Well,
except when you have a good time at a theater,
right?
You don't tell anybody about that,
right? Because you wouldn't want them to become solvent.
Exactly. Oh, well put.
Thank you. All right. Well, I think that we are going to wrap up this episode. Thank you to my guest, Mark Bratton. If you like the show, please share it. Tell people. Use the hashtag Idiot Talk Show to follow along on all your social sites. And please don't forget to subscribe. Comment in any of the social areas that you'd like, and we will definitely comment back. And hope everyone has a fantastic week.
Thank you so much for having me, dear.
Absolutely.
I love you.
Oh, I love you. Thanks for listening to Talk to Me Like I'm an Idiot. You can find us on all your favorite social channels at Idiot Talk Show. Make sure you subscribe anywhere that you get podcasts. And make sure you tell a friend. We can't grow without your love. Make a comment and we will definitely comment back. Have an awesome week, everybody.